AI is going to make a lot of millionaires, more millionaires in the next 5-10 years than the internet ever did in 20-30 years.
For sure. If I started that business now, I probably have 3 people. I would never need to ever have a team of 40 ever again. All right? Why would I need 40 people to build apps? I need maybe a design mind, and I need a coder that can look at the architecture that ChatGPT just spinned up for us, what Replit and Lovable, these vibe coding platforms can build, and whatever our client asks for, can spin that up literally in fractions of the time.
How has AI made you money? Like, what are your top 5 apps?
Yeah.
Welcome to another edition of Mindset Profits. I have made it a mission to this is a call for me. I want to create the biggest year of my life, and I'm challenging you to think the same. One of the questions that I've been asked when I say this call out is, I don't even know where to start. How do I create the biggest year of my life if I'm suffering right now, if I'm struggling right now, if I'm in debt right now? This is going to be the masterclass you didn't realize you need, because I've been searching for someone who can speak to this, and I found the best one. The one with the English. Mushambi, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
He's the author of an amazing book, a speaker, a renowned speaker around it. He's doing work internationally, and his book is called Adaptability. So I think, what's a good place to start? Do you want to tell us about the book?
Sure.
Let's start there, because I want people to create breakthroughs when they watch these interviews.
No, happy, man. So maybe I'll give a little bit of context.
Yeah.
So I've been in the tech space for a very long time. Probably the last 15 plus years, if not a bit more. From running my own tech business, essentially a product lab where we built a lot of platforms, e-commerce, banking solutions, the like. And I've always been known as kind of the tech or innovation guy, especially when it comes to speaking.
Okay.
And I used to take businesses through kind of how to be innovative, how to build a culture of innovation, etc.
Yeah.
And my first book back in 2019 was essentially a book just about tech. It was a book called Tech Adjacent. And the basic premise is technology is moving so fast you can't keep up with it, but you can't afford to ignore it. So how do you stay adjacent? How do you stay close to it?
Well, that's powerful. You can't keep up with it, but you can't afford to ignore it.
That's it.
We are caught in between.
Let's stay close by, all right? And so the book was trying to understand how tech works. Its history, particularly in the African context, the Wakanda-like tech that we have, and just trying to make it ours, because I made sure that all the stories, all the case studies in that book were African. Because I wanted to make sure that if you're reading this as a young person, or even a professional, you understand that technology innovation is also ours, because it's very much an us versus them thing. You think Silicon Valley, you think Tel Aviv, you think Singapore, and you're like, that's not us. But we own a lot of amazing tech. Yeah. So that was that book. But I'd say, I guess over the last few years, I've transitioned from just being the tech innovation AI guy to really just trying to understand what the future of leadership looks like. And I think it's just my own evolution as a person, as a consultant, an advisor, a few more gray hairs.
A few more.
A few more, right? And a few less hair up here, right? But essentially, I've been focusing on the future of leadership. And last year, November, I finished another book about technology. And I was reading it, and I was really unhappy with it. I thought, half this book is not irrelevant. It's not relevant anymore. All these things that are changing. This chapter's gone. This chapter's gone. And I thought the world doesn't need another book about tech, right? We need a different framework. And so what kept coming up for me was this thing of adaptability. And so the premise of the adaptability code is essentially mindset first. Right?
Ooh,
is that
you
change?
Are in the right platform.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Right? Is the change, evolution is happening, disruption is happening faster than ever before. Technology is changing at light speed. Right? Every single week, we're seeing brand new changes that are exponentially different than the one before. And so I think it's harder and harder to understand it and keep up with it. If it was hard in 2019, it's next to impossible now. And so I was trying to say, well, how do I sell tech? How do I walk into a room, try to sell multi-million dollar technology, no matter how amazing it is? I can't convince you because it's so scary. It's so intimidating. It's going to take all these jobs. It's going to kill all my people. You know, it's a scary time.
Yeah.
So I thought we need mindset first. And adaptability is about consistently being able to evolve and change. How do we build that muscle? How do we build the DNA of change and comfort with change within us? And so the book takes us through kind of the traits of adaptability, from foresight to resilience to curiosity to agility to care. All these traits to build up essentially this new muscle, like you would train it at the gym. Then we can have a different relationship with technology. Then we can work in partnership with it because we've learned how to keep evolving even as the ground kind of keeps shifting underneath us. So yeah, that's a long, short story about how we got to the adaptability code.
I like that we're here and we're going to do a deep dive into being adaptable.
Yes.
How do you explain the accent? What's the story?
I get that question multiple times a week, man. No, so I'm originally from Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
My father is Zimbabwean. He's Shona. My mother is part Tswana, part from the Eastern Cape. So I'm a child of the African soil. But I also spent about 18 years growing up in the U.S. So I can't shake it. It's still here. I can't. I can't shake it. It's here.
So it's the US influence.
The US, that's it.
Do you still do a lot of work there now?
I do. I still have siblings there. I still my younger sister. I still have lots of friends, and I do have some business there. Occasionally, some speaking opportunities that side. So man, it's still very much an influence.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
When you look at the African child,
Yeah.
Africans, where's your heart right now? If you're looking at Africans who want to transform their lives, but it's hard.
You know what? I would say that right now is the absolute best time in history to be an African child in human existence. All right.
Go deeper.
And even you think about business, you think about entrepreneurship, you think about learning, you think about platforms like this, right? You think about the advances of AI. It's the easiest and cheapest time in human history to learn, to acquire knowledge, and to use it to build things. It's never been cheaper than it is today. It's never been better. It's never been faster. So you can think of all those advances, and you understand that we're actually in a really good spot. Other parts of the world, the US, Europe, right? They're tapped out. Even Asia, they're tapped out from a resource standpoint. They're tapped out from a knowledge standpoint. They're tapped out from a market standpoint. There's no more to sell. There's no one else to sell to. Everyone's got mass adoption of everything. Here we still have problems to solve. Right? We still have incredible potential to keep solving things and market opportunity to grow. When it comes to the African child is not only the employee of the future, but it's the consumer of the future. We're the youngest population and we're the largest, right? Right behind Asia.
Youngest and largest.
Right behind Asia, but swiftly catching up, and we will be. So the opportunity there from a global standpoint is the world is going to have to come to us to sell things. It has to come to us to be employed, to employ us. And so for me, it's an amazing opportunity for us to be able to leapfrog if we take advantage of the opportunity and skills that exist. Right.
I love it.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible, though, with the leadership framework that exists now? Because for a lot of people, the feeling is because of how politics plays out in Africa, that is difficult.
Yeah, it certainly is, and particularly here in South Africa, I'd say so for sure. But at the same time, the potential is great. I was talking to somebody this last week about the G20. And it's a perfect example of us knowing exactly what to do. Right? We're excellent. When we know what to do, we know how to do it from a global standpoint, right? Yeah. We come here, we deliver, there's no problems, there's no crime. We influence on a global stage about really important policy. So we know how to do things when visitors are here. Same thing happened when the World Cup happened, right? Did you hear one story of kidnapping or any violence during the World Cup?
We can get it right.
We can get it right.
When there are eyes.
Right? So that shows you that we have the capacity and we can do that every day. And there's also the economic capacity, right? So for me, the potential is there. Unfortunately, I do believe that our governments let us down. And I think hopefully with more youthful governance, that will change. If I look at Amen Toure, if I look at the president over in Botswana, we've got younger guys coming in that are shaking things up quite considerably. That's exciting to me. And I think South Africa needs some of that in order to kind of make that next leap. Because you can't have economic growth without partnership with government. You can't. It's impossible.
Love it. Love it. Let's get back to being adaptable.
Yeah.
What's a good place to start if I want to create the biggest breakthrough of my life? Because I look at, let's say, my life, and I want to look at the year that I made the most amount of money.
Yeah,
that's
I love
a good
it.
place to
I
start.
love it.
But I want to top that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think firstly is understanding that change, or rather fear of change, is a normal condition. It's a human condition to not want change. Our brains are hardwired to want predictability and ease. Your brain doesn't want any change. Your brain doesn't want anything new because it knows, like, if I'm driving to this part of town, I know exactly where to go. I know where the stoplights are. I know where the potholes are, where the police like to hide. It's easy.
Our brains love that.
They love that. That's why it's really hard to form a new habit like going to the gym or eating better, because your brain's like, no, man, this is the way we do things. It's easy. We survive. I don't want that. So the first thing is understanding that our fear of change or resistance to change is normal. But the way we break through that is those 5 traits that I talked about. So foresight, it's about developing that character in your brain that's asking more questions to look around the corner, right? How much do you look at how policy is informing growth on podcasts, right? Potentially, right? What are new markets across the continent where there's a big drive in digital communication where it might be a bigger market for you to take advantage? Or even are you looking at industries completely outside of your own in media and education to say what's happening in banking, what's happening in finance, what's happening in retail that might impact what I do?
So basically, where is the next opportunity coming from in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years?
That's it.
What are the trends?
Yes, but always kind of looking for those trends, always looking around the corner, right? To say, because we get caught up in right now. We just want to grow right now. Like you said, you had the best year, so you're like, all I have to do is incrementally better than I did this year, and we'll still keep rising, right? But you're not looking ahead. You're not looking at what influenced this to be the best year, right? How much do you know? Is it just growth for growth's sake? Is it because you had a great production team? Like, what is it? What are all those reasons that might have grown into why you had such amazing growth this last year? And will that still happen next year? If you haven't looked around the corner yet, then you're just kind of operating on luck. You see? So foresight is super important. You need to be informed by tangible data about why these things are happening and then what might happen next. Then the next one is resilience. And this is just about developing a thick skin, right? Because change is hard. Mm-hmm. Getting knocked on your butt is hard, right? It sucks. And also, imagine you build something right now, and then tomorrow Sam Altman or whoever else launches a feature and completely blows that thing up, right? Imagine, right? So if you think about that, is that you have to develop resilience now more than ever. You have to have a thick skin to keep bouncing back up because of that constant change, right?
Because the market will bring disruption.
That's it, man. It will knock you down. So you have to be able to get back up. My father used to call it hanging in their-ness, right? You have to have that, that hanging in their-ness. He used to make up all these sayings, right? As fathers do, but hanging in their-ness, right? It's that ability to just keep holding on, to keep getting back up, right? So that's around resilience. Curiosity is one of my favorite.
So this is 3.
Yeah, these are just the different ones. So we went we went foresight, we went resilience, now we're going curiosity. Curiosity is really about asking you questions. It's about experimenting. As human beings, particularly as professionals that have been around for a bit, we're great implementers. We're not very good experimenters, right? We implement a strategy. We implement a slight improvement. We implement some slight tweaks. We put a new light. We put a new camera. But we implement. But we don't try brand new things that we've never done before. That's what curiosity is. It's about building a habit of just playing with things, trying new things, seeing what breaks.
Trying stuff you've never done before.
Never done before.
Instead of small incremental changes.
Yeah, try some big things every now and then, all right, to shake things up. And that muscle, again, is building up this more comfort with change and adaptability. Then the next one is agility. And agility is really about making decisions quickly. right? Oftentimes we just get stuck. We want all the information. We want everybody's voice considered. We want all the data. It takes time, instead of just acting. Agility says, I took all the information from foresight, I built up this new muscle, I tried new things, and here, let me just act right now, right? Next episode, you're trying something brand new. Not waiting until next season, March, we'll try something. Now, next episode, let's try something new, right? That's what it's about, and making those bolder moves as it relates to kind of quick action.
Okay.
Then the last one is care. And this, I think, is particularly targeted at leaders. I wouldn't say that it's for everybody. It's particularly a leadership chapter and a leadership trait. Mm-hmm. I used to think about empathy, but I really dislike empathy. I think empathy has been shifted into just talking about feelings. Right, Ntando, I see where you are. I'm sorry. It sucks over there. Yo, it's been a rough year. Yo, yeah. How you feeling about that? I'm so sorry, man. And we just care about how you're feeling, and that's how you're doing. Care, from a leadership standpoint, says, I'll acknowledge your feelings, but I'm responsible for your growth.
I see.
I'm responsible for putting you in the best position to grow and shine. Right?
As a leader to you.
As a leader, right? And it's a different kind of responsibility. I often liken it, when I'm using this example, to like taking care of a plant, right? Because not everybody has a kid, but taking care of a plant, it's an easier analogy. If you want to take care of a plant, you understand the conditions that plant needs to thrive, when it needs to be watered, how much it needs to be watered, how much sunlight it needs, or how much it doesn't need, right? When you need to change the pot because its roots are growing. You put that plant, if you want to be a good plant parent, you put that plant in the best conditions for it to survive and thrive. How do we do that with our people? It's not just about caring about their feelings. It's saying, how do I care about where you are, but lift you up and hold you also to a standard of excellence where I know you can continue to shine and grow. If we can do that, again, then we're raising adaptable leaders behind us, and that's a legacy thing. Or if you're a parent, you're raising adaptable children. And I think care is one that's really slept on. So I think that was why it was really important for me to round it out with that side.
I love it. So this is the framework. You've given us the framework.
Yeah.
What I want to do is do a deep dive into the framework.
Yeah, please.
So it becomes actionable for the community.
Yeah.
If we're looking at number one, we'll start at number one. The foresight.
Yeah.
I picture someone who says it's hard for me to have the foresight because I don't have maybe the research skills, or it's hard for me to look at a bigger and brighter future because the future I see right now in the environment that I'm in is I'm deep in debt. Yeah. I've got people chasing me all over the place. Yeah. I just lost loved ones to the point. I read a message from someone who was saying, a comment actually. Someone said, I lost my parents, and then a year later lost a loved one, and then now I'm deep in debt and my career took a downward spiral. So for someone who's been like that, bit of disillusioned about where they are in life, they say to you, it's so hard for me to have a foresight of a brighter future because this is my reality right now. I'm drowning.
Yeah, for sure. I think, and maybe I'll jump to, particularly to answer that one, I'll jump to resilience, right? Because when times are tough, how we react to that is incredibly important, right?
Yeah.
What I often ask people is what's your resilience playbook? When bad news hits, when you fail, what is it that you do? What are the habits that you do? Do you drink a bottle of wine or a bottle of whiskey? Do you go and party with friends? Is there a mother or grandmother that you call? Like, what is the thing you do to kind of bounce back on your feet? Do you eat a tub of ice cream? Do you go to the gym? What are the habits that you do when something rough happens to you? Write those things down, right? Good and bad. Then what you can do is say, this is actually my playbook for bouncing back. Right? This is how I normally bounce back. This is what maybe helps me and this is what doesn't. You can refine that because you can say, well, the last 5 things that happened to me, no matter how tough or difficult, and I know death is even more difficult to deal, especially from a loved one or a parent. It's even harder. But if you think about normal day-to-day failure, losing clients, maybe not getting a promotion, maybe struggling with debt, or not getting an invoice paid on time, right? As we entrepreneurs struggle with,
we will
right?
know. Yeah.
Is that what do you do when that happens? Often you can put yourself in a deeper hole just by the way that you think and respond, right? Because you're so depressed, because you're so down on yourself, you start kicking yourself. I often tell my wife, because when she's upset with herself or something that happens in business or she's frustrated, she'll talk about herself. And I'm like, yo, man, don't talk about my wife that way. I have to remind her. I have to say that to her, like, yo, who are you talking to? Don't talk to my wife like that. She's not a failure. No, she didn't fail. Something happened. Cool. She bounced back. And that's the shift, because how we talk about and to ourselves is super important. And I think the first step is watching the energy. And I've got an amazing friend and business partner. And when things are difficult, the first question, we're like, how's your energy? No, man, get out of that energy. Yeah, it's tough, but let's get into a more positive energy. Because we can't fix this problem if we stay in a negative space. It's impossible. I promise you. You will never fix a problem if your mindset remains negative. It's even harder to fix when you're positive, but I promise you it will never happen if you remain in a negative and dark space. It'll be impossible to fix because you can't think of solutions. I could come with R1 million tomorrow. You wouldn't even see the opportunity of R1 million. You'd just be like, oh, R1 million, how much debt do I have? I got to do this. You wouldn't even see that, oh, maybe there's a growth opportunity for me to do this and this with it. All right? So we have to push ourselves into that resilient space. And it's not being affected by difficulty, but again, it's bouncing back faster. All right?
Because you're watching your energy and you're doing a diagnostic on your habits.
That's it. And you're shifting them, and you're shifting how you talk about yourself. All right. So again, watch how you talk about my wife. That's a shout out to her.
I'm sure she will have a fun time watching this bit.
No, but she knows that I'm always saying it. And then if we go back to then foresight, right? Yeah. Is that okay? Cool. Let's say my mindset's a little bit better. I'm still struggling, but yes, things are tough. For me, okay, you want to look at trends? You never assessed them before? Then pull out your phone. ChatGPT is your best friend, right? The prompt there is, hey, I'm in this industry, but I also want to learn about this industry, or actually give me 5 other industries that might be relevant to what I do, that might impact me in the next 6 months, or what news is happening around the world. Give it to me in a 30-second summary and tell me how those things might impact me. How did G20 impact me? How did B20 impact me? How did us getting disinvited to the next G20, how does that potentially impact me? If you don't know, that's part of building foresight. And I'm not saying that you must be an absolute expert about every bit of news, but you must know something about something, right? Yeah. And you must understand that if I'm in this space, what are the things that lead to growth or the opposite, right?
There's a conversation we were having with Wendy, yes. And one of the things we talked about was restarting or researching your life in your 40s, in your 50s, where in a season of your life where you don't have the luxury to make too many mistakes as you did in your 20s. You could do so many in your 20s and get away with it. But when you get closer to retirement, the playbook seems to change. You need to be quite concise with what you do. For people in that season in their lives, what would you say are like the top skills they should acquire now that will keep them relevant? Or
they must be adaptable more than anybody else.
Adaptability is number one.
It is, man, because if you think about it, right, if I am 40, 50, 60 years old, I am pretty stuck in my ways. Right? Even if I'm successful, I'm probably even more stuck in my ways because I'm like, this behavior, this mentality, this way of doing things got me here. But what I always tell, particularly business leaders and companies that have been around for a long time, what's got you here is not what's going to get you there, especially now more than ever. So if you're 40, 50, 60, you're not going to be able to continue doing things the exact same way you always did. You now have to be able to change more than ever.
Just a second. I'm looking at that.
Spider,
yeah.
There we go.
It's on the table.
Is it on the table?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm looking at it coming down and thinking this is...
It's going to be an episode, a moment on the episode. Eh? No, nice.
All right. One. But yeah, we dealt with the spider.
No, all good. Yeah, so the concept there is that whatever has got you here isn't what's going to get you there, right?
Yeah.
You have to have now the ability to look at whatever made me successful in the past is not what's going to make me successful in the future. Now more than ever, I'm required, because of my age, to learn some new things, to still keep this knowledge that I have, but multiply it with the new knowledge that exists out there. Then you're disruption proof. Then no one's replacing you. No one's getting rid of you, because they look across the table and you're not now that old guy in the room that doesn't change. You're the old guy that's open to new things, right? That's a massive opportunity.
How do you define being adaptable? What does it look like when someone is adaptable?
Yeah. Is when change happens, they don't fall apart. They don't resist. They don't run away. They don't put their head in the sand. They say, cool, that looks tough, but I'm willing to try it. That's what it is in the simplest basis. In the most advanced basis, it's someone who's constantly reframing themselves and changing themselves for every new season of life, right? But I think that, forget adaptable, that should be a successful person. Any successful person, if you've seen over the years, is people that have been able to take the situation at hand, use it, and then shift it to their best their benefit, or understand that it's there and then shift themselves for it, right? But if you look at any successful person, you take millionaires, billionaires, none of them are the exact same when they first started and where they are now. They would not be still successful, I promise you. Their growth would not be happening, right? And so success, survival, requires constant evolution. It's mandatory, you know? So
does it come to people who are younger, in their 20s? Do you see people who are younger who are like that?
Yeah, definitely. I got a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. I'm trying to teach them adaptability. Right? Because if more than ever, even them, the careers that they're probably going to have don't even exist yet. So I can't teach them the hard skill to say, okay, you're going to go and do this, my boy, right? Or my girl. So let's start teaching you everything you need to learn that. No matter what career it is. It could be medicine. It could be the arts. It could be coding. Like any of those skills, I can't teach them everything now and then know that in 10 years, 20 years, I can just send them out. So I have to teach them that curiosity, that flexibility of thinking now more than ever. So 20-year-olds, 100%. Because even then, you're entering a job market that's changing every 6 months. Right? Young people, it's harder for them to kind of adapt in this new space, because if you think about technology, AI is doing that grunt work that I did the first 5 years of my career, right? The research, put this together, put that proposal together, or that PowerPoint, take this information and put it into a spreadsheet. AI is doing that for me in seconds, right? And because I'm a little bit older and grayer, I'm using my skills with AI. I don't need an analyst anymore. I don't need a junior anymore, right? So that person, that young person, actually needs to be more adaptable than ever, because they're trying to enter a market and have some kind of employability with a skill set that people aren't asking for as much as they used to because of AI.
Love it.
Yeah.
So there are people that keep saying AI is going to make a lot of millionaires, more millionaires in the next 5-10 years than the internet ever did in 20-30 years.
For sure.
AI is that powerful. How do you speak to someone who says, I see AI is there, I see ChatGPT is there, but how is it going to make me a millionaire? I still can't connect the dots.
No, for sure. But I think it depends on what you're trying to do, right? And the kind of business that you're trying to build. Yeah. I used to run a digital lab, as I opened with. At our peak, we're probably 40 people, designers, strategists, developers. If I started that business now, I probably have 3 people. I would never need to ever have a team of 40 ever again. For what reason?
Had 40 people.
Yeah. Right? Why would I need 40 people to build apps? I need maybe a design mind, and I need a coder that can look at the architecture that ChatGPT just spinned up for us, what Replit and Lovable, these vibe coding platforms can build, and whatever our client asks for, can spin that up literally in fractions of the time and fractions of the cost. Right? So things are certainly evolving faster. So that's one example. If you think about building a media and education platform like you're building, right? Well, you can research not only your guests, but new thinking, new strategies. literally like this,
Yeah.
right? You can onboard your customers or your listeners in a different way in terms of understanding them and assess the data about where they are, all the demographic data, the analytical data about what impacts them and what content really speaks to them, right? You also know that between 1 minute and 20 minutes is your sweet spot, but at the 21st minute we get a drop off. So now we can shift our content focus to do something different to keep you here the next half of the show, right? All that data is now readily available to you from an editing standpoint. You can edit this show and get it up today, right? It doesn't take weeks anymore.
We actually can now.
Yeah, exactly, right? Putting pressure on the guys here, right? But the thing is, like, those are all the things, because of the advancement of technology, it's now moving literally at light speed. So you can make better decisions, more informed decisions. You've got more at your fingertips. It's cheaper than ever to build things, right? And to run a business because of all the tools that exist. So for me, is that think about what you're good at and what you love, and then say, if I had a superpower to multiply and amplify this skill, what would that do for me? And that's what AI is. That's what ChatGPT is. That's what all these tools are. They're multipliers, right? They make you a superhero. So it's like, how do I use it to multiply my impact?
I love your take on this and how you deliver the talks on this.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is ask you, how has AI made you money? Like, what are your top 5 apps that you can reference?
No,
is
for
5
sure.
too much?
Nah, it's okay, man.
I can go
So,
with
I mean,
3.
the first way AI makes me money is I talk about it. So shout out, right? But if I think about the tools that I use on a regular basis, right? So I'd say that ChatGPT probably knows me the best, right? Because I've had the longest history, and I've got it split in different segments of my life. I've got it from my business. I've got it from a content standpoint. I've got it for family management and family problems. I've got a particular chat for that. I've got it for church thinking. I've got it all split. So when I enter this part of my ChatGPT, it's for my kids. Right? And I'm talking to chat about...
Did you create projects?
Yeah, I created projects for each of those, right? So I've got one for my keynotes and client research. I've got one. I've got for content. So each part of my life is segmented in these different projects, right? And briefed and prompted accordingly, right?
Okay.
So there's chat. I use Gemini a lot for experimentation and just building new things. I love it from that sense. Particularly, I think it's image and video generation. Banana is bananas, right? So I love it for that. There's another tool, Perplexity, that I love. And I'd say Perplexity is probably the most accurate LLM that exists because all of its data is cited sources, and it gives you those cited sources. It gives you the specific web pages and platforms that got that information. So for me, from a research standpoint, it's going to give me the best, right? And it's also now got a browser that I use.
Okay.
So it's incredible. Then I typically like...
Before we get to the next two, I'm curious, are you paying? I know you're probably paying for ChatGPT because you have projects.
Yes. No, I am paying. But
are you paying for the other two?
I am. And so, I mean, $20 here, $20 here, I think $15 there. But for what I do, non-negotiable, and the level of which I use it. But you don't have to, right? You can still use the free version. You don't have to use the pro versions of everything.
Especially if you're starting.
Especially if you're starting out. This is what I do every day. I spend the majority of my time in the tool, so I don't really have a choice. But you still don't have to. But again, $20, $15 compared to the value that I get out of it, priceless.
I'll share a tip. Maybe this is going to be a tip for someone building a platform. I was saying to you, we have had this is our biggest growth year this year. One thing that we did, I pay for ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I put it in agent mode and gave it the channel.
Yes.
And I said, analyze this thing.
I love it.
From the first video we ever posted, look for all the mistakes, the inconsistencies.
I love it.
Points to optimize.
Yes.
And boy, did it go deep.
Yeah.
Told me all the errors of my ways.
I love that. I love that.
From the start. And then it created a blueprint for what growth would look like going forward.
Yeah.
We've probably implemented like 10% of it.
See?
And we're already getting some momentum.
I love that. And that's a perfect use case. Look at what I'm doing and help me do it better. That's a simple prompt, right? It's a
It
very
wasn't a
simple
hard
prompt.
prompt.
Literally, right? That's it, right? Or give me a prompt to ask you to help me prompt you better. That's also, it's going to write a better prompt for you. So ask it to. But another one that I often tell people about is, what I tell chat is, don't be so agreeable with me, right? Push me, push my thinking. Don't just agree. If I'm not making sense or if this doesn't align with what we've talked about in the past, tell me, right? And ask me questions that are gonna, don't just answer, ask me questions that are gonna push me further. So now I've got a very cheeky ChatGPT that after every single prompt, it says, are you asking me this because of that? Or have you considered this? Or it always gives me like 3 questions. And I'm like, bro, it's fine. I don't even want to talk anymore. But I appreciate it because it's not just answering me. It's actually making me, oh yeah, you know what? I hadn't thought about that. That's a very good point. Add this layer. And you know what? I hadn't considered that. That is a risk. Let's view it this way. So it's like we're engaging. It's not just giving me blanket answers. It's pushing me and I'm pushing it.
So you created project instructions and you loaded them.
That's it.
So that's the frame that it has
frame.
every time you engage with it on a particular project.
Yeah, it knows this is what I'm talking about in this layer. This is what I'm talking about in this layer. And these are the overall goals that I have across the board is just me, Mushambi. Yeah.
I wanted to see if you were paying or not because you mentioned 3,
Yes.
Gemini, ChatGPT, and Perplexity.
Perplexity,
for
yeah. So I'm definitely
deep
paying.
research.
Yeah, so I'm paying for all 3.
All right, so we've got 2 more to go.
Yeah, man. So the other 2 that I use, and they're both vibe coding platforms. And essentially what vibe coding is, for those who don't know, is that you can give instructions to build any kind of mobile app, digital platform, whatever you think of, without actually having development experience. So I put in a prompt, it starts building. Right.
Okay.
And so the 2 that I use often, because I use it as demos for my keynotes, is one is called Replit and the other one is called Lovable.
I know Lovable.
Yeah. Replit, I'd say, is a little bit deeper. Lovable makes like beautifully designed things. Replit like builds the actual back end. Like if you want a platform, you can go to Replit and you can hit publish and that thing will be incredible.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a little bit deeper than Lovable. So depending.
Can I build an app that is monetizable?
Yeah, 100%. And you can deploy. And the other day, literally for a keynote, I do this often kind of to be cheeky with some of my clients. I'll do some research about them. I'll get on stage and say, hey guys, I know you told me, I look at the CEO and be like, I know you told me not to do this. You're not going to announce this until tomorrow, but I couldn't help it. I'm like, guys, we just built a brand new AI platform for all of you. Are you excited? The room's, oh my goodness, yes, right? Are you guys ready to see it? And then I launched this thing that I built, right? And I'm going through it. I'm showing the features and people are like, oh my goodness, this is perfect. When can we see it? I'm like, oh, you're going to get it tomorrow. The CEO's there sweating. I actually have a video of one poor guy. He's literally there sweating. He's like, what is this guy doing on stage, right? And then I'm like, guys, how much did that cost? How long did you think it take? And people are like, oh, 6 months, a year. It cost R1 million. I'm like, guys, I did that Thursday, sitting on my couch, and it took me 20 minutes, right? And sometimes I'm using the paid version of Lovable, and sometimes I'm not, but I still have it, right? And they're like, oh my goodness, right? And so the joke is, or the assessment is, if I could build that on 20 minutes on my computer, just messing around with basic information about your industry. The other week it was estate agents. The other ones it was group finance at one of the big banks. The other day it was an NGO. I built different platforms for all of them, not really knowing in depth about what they do. So I'm like, imagine if you, with all your knowledge about education, about media platforms, built a tool, right? And the brief and prompt and instructions you would give it would be a million times better than what I did. But it took me 8 minutes, right? Imagine what you can do.
That's powerful. What about someone who says, I don't want to build apps, but I've got this small business, I've got this side hustle, I 100%. Still want to use AI to power it up.
But then you don't have to build an app, but what if you built something that helps you do your business better? What helps, okay, let's assess our finances better. Let's assess why clients don't pay us on time. Let's assess, whatever it could be, whatever the admin functions of your life. It doesn't have to be just these market-facing things that are beautifully designed, right? It can be internal, right? The other day, it's a couple weeks ago, we got a brief to do a 19-city tour next year, which is absolutely insane.
Sure.
It's like 5 weeks back to back, 3 days, literally everywhere. Like every day I'm traveling, every day I'm on stage. And so I'm like, okay, cool. let me build a tool that's going to help me manage my travel and logistics, guys.
Okay.
I want to be there. I'd prefer to travel the night before or after a talk and rest instead of before. I'd prefer these kind of travel times. Joburg is my base. I'd want to come home as much as I can in between, but I want to optimize my schedule. It built me and my chief of staff an amazing tool to map out that travel schedule for those 5 weeks. Also understanding the nuance of how I like to travel, how much sleep I'm going to get. It told me which weeks were going to be rougher. Okay, here you're going to need to find a driver. Here we're going to catch as many flights as we can,
Are you serious?
Right? That helped me just from a pure admin and logistics. Otherwise, my chief of staff would have sat there and spent hours and hours like, okay, he's going to travel from here to here. And then, okay, let me find a rental car from here. Then let me find a this. She has the toolkit now to talk to the organizers and be like, guys, these are Mushambi's travel plans. And these are his preferences. Oh, and here's overlaid all the hotels that are along the way that we can do this with. Boom. All right? Then all I have to worry about is getting on stage and doing what I need to do. I'm not thinking about those logistics. So it made a big admin problem. It solved it literally in a few minutes.
And when you've built an app like that, do you ever think of selling it, or you keep it to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could. And I think if I was still in that kind of business and that kind of frame of mind, certainly. I've built so many things that I probably could monetize, right? But I haven't thought about it that way. Maybe there's some I'm sitting on that I should probably relook at.
Could
have
be.
somebody.
Could
certainly. Because we built some cool things like that alone, right? If you're a high traffic traveler, that's an amazing tool that's already built and launched, right? And so I think that, you're spot on. But what I'm saying is that it's not always about building an app. It's just about saying, what are the operations that I do on a day-to-day basis? How do I amplify them? What's the grunt work that I hate doing? How do you help me do that faster and easier and cheaper? Boom, you do that, right? Give me the outputs, then I'll do this. Right? I don't want to take all these receipts and slips and then recon. Now I must plan for that. Okay, give me a simpler system to meet with my accountant on. Boom, that's that part of my life sorted and done.
Love it.
You see what I
How
mean?
do I protect my information? Because there's a fear that some people have when it comes to putting their financial information into
100%.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I want to give AI my business data and say, these are my sales revenue, these are my expenses, this is my profit, this is what my balance sheet looks like.
Yeah.
But how safe is that information on?
It is pretty safe. If you think about how much of our data is already in the cloud, how much data you have in Google, how much data you have Google Sheets or Microsoft, most of your data is already in the cloud as it exists. And I'd argue that in some cases it's even less secure than an LLM is, right? So there's that. The second thing, the easy thing you could do is you can go to settings, and the setting that you click is do not train the AI with my data. Boom. Then you've got your own sandbox where your data is not now being exposed. Now we can say, what's Nintendo's last financial year? And it won't tell me because they don't have that data, right? And they also do a pretty good job of understanding those guardrails, right? That risk, I wouldn't say, is so much there anymore.
Okay.
The other side is that if you are going to build agents, right? So now let's say I built an agent that said, okay, cool, these are my travel plans. Go ahead and book all these flights, book all these hotels. Well, I have to understand how much information I'm giving away. I'm giving away my entire inbox, all my financial data, my bank statements, right? All my credit card statements, everything, just to make that quick decision, just to book a meeting for me, just to do that. So you also have to understand is that if you're going to ask AI to do some of those things, you have to understand the risk of how much you have to give to the tool for it to make that decision for you. So there's a balancing act. But I'd say the safety of your actual data on a day-to-day basis, I'd say, is pretty solid.
What opportunity do you think young people are sleeping on right now? If you were to go back and be 20,
yeah, man,
what would your mindset be around what you need to be doing right now?
Again, just think about the access of information that you have. I came up in an age without YouTube. Right? We didn't have platforms like this for me to learn directly, word of mouth, from the people that I looked up to. Didn't exist. I had to read a book for that, right? It was a longer journey.
Yeah.
So now you've got literally, among podcasts and videos, you've got like billions and billions of hours of information for any sector, for anything that you want to do. You want to get into fitness supplements? There's a perfect guy to go listen to here. You want to go do like everything that you've ever thought of? There's a niche and content exists for it. So for me, I just don't see that people are taking advantage of the information that they have. There's so much. Anything that you would ever want to do and create, you can get advised on how to do so. And if by some chance it doesn't exist, you can just speak to chat and have a conversation about building out what that would be. You can get informed and say, okay, what do I need to develop this? Okay, you need this perspective, and this one. How do I learn to build, like I want to go to the gym and I want to build this muscle group for the next 30 days. What's the ideal plan? I eat this much. This is what I typically consume. I sleep this many hours. This is what I lift here and there. It's going to give me the perfect plan, right, to go and activate. So for me, I'm just like, what can't you do with all of this data and information? I think oftentimes it can feel like noise and maybe too much information, but the potential of what you can do with it and how you can direct it on your behalf, for me, it's priceless. So if I could go back 30 years, the billions are going to be there, bro. Because you don't have an excuse.
Because you're going deep. What would like your learning routine look like? Because I'm picturing someone who hasn't used AI and they know they're not good at it.
Yeah.
How much time do they realistically need to give themselves to learning?
My thing is just play with it. Just start, right? Like I said, you know all what I'm spending on all these different platforms. I'm probably a very advanced user. There's people that are much better at prompt engineering than I am. But for me, is just start playing with it, right? Just ask it a very simple prompt. I want to learn this new skill for the next 30 days. What do you and I need to talk about every day to do so? Ooh. That's it. I'm not going to tell you the perfect prompt. I don't know what it is, but ask it. It'll tell you whatever skill, right? Do you want to build paper airplanes like my son? This is how it'll tell you to get really proficient at building paper airplanes, right? That's it. There you go. And it'll tell you what to do every single day to enhance that, right? You want to learn how to dance? Here you go. These are the things that you need to do, the videos you need to watch to get proficient at this kind of dance in the next 30 days. All that information exists. So if you're not proficient, that's fine. Just tell, hey, I'm a beginner. I don't know how to talk to you. And the thing about LLMs that's so amazing is that you're talking to it like it's a friend, like it's a person, right? You're not talking to it like it's a computer, like, hey, give me the coding of this. No, you're like, yo, man, I'm struggling with this. Help me think about this in a different way. Shut.
I love that.
Yeah.
What's a wrong way you've seen people use AI?
Yeah.
Like some of the bad use cases
100%.
or bad habits around the use of AI?
Two really quick things. Firstly, AI is not your friend. While you can be conversational like a friend, it's not your friend, right? So there's so many use cases of people getting really harmful data because they believe that this technology is their friend and they're talking to a friend. No, man, it knows you, but it also knows how you think and maybe the things that can influence you. That's a dark road to potentially go down. So people mustn't let loneliness think that these tools are our friends. No, they're made by billion-dollar companies that control information. It's not your friend, right?
So don't share sensitive information.
Don't share sensitive information, but also understand that it doesn't always have to act in your best interest, right? Sometimes it's experimenting with you. Right? It's learning, right? It's building its data pool by understanding how you respond to certain things. Sometimes it can feed you. There's a guy that was suing ChatGPT and OpenAI, I think 2 months ago, basically because it said that it made him think he was a genius. It made him think that he created some new theory and that theory needed to go out to the rest of the world. And he asked it multiple times, are you sure? And they're like, yes. So he thought this guy, not a great IQ, but he thought that he was Einstein, quite literally. So he's suing ChatGPT because it basically spoofed him into thinking that, right? So that's a dangerous lane to go in. But maybe a more realistic one is don't outsource all of your thinking to the tool, right? A lot of people are like, write this email for me, write this podcast brief for me, write all my interview questions for me, write all my interview answers for me.
Yo.
Right? And I see it all the time on LinkedIn. Someone will have a ChatGPT or an LLM generated post, right? And then all the comments you can see are other people's AIs. You're like, this is just an AI talking to an AI here. There's no real human thought in any of this, right? So a lot of people are outsourcing all of their thinking. They put everything there and they're like, just do it for me, right? And that's why they're getting these generic answers, right, that we all can clearly see. We're like, that one we know. That one we know, right? Versus this is what I'm thinking about for this podcast episode. What gaps have I missed, right? Mushambi's been on 10 other podcasts in the last couple of months. What questions hasn't he been asked? What other perspective do you think we should give to this conversation? That's a better use than give me 10 questions for this blanket guest. You see?
Yeah, I used to try to do the 10 questions thing. Give me 10 questions, and it gives me questions that I feel are great until I'm with the guest. And they don't make sense now when you're in front of me.
Like,
so
where are you now?
I don't even carry notes.
Yeah, you just let it flow. Yeah.
I do the research.
Yes.
Get a mindset around what I want to achieve with the podcast. Like I think of someone who's going to watch the interview, where they are in life, and what can they do differently after they watch the interview.
I love that.
So coming into this, I'm looking at someone who genuinely wants to transform their lives. And there's tech and AI tools that are available to help them do that.
Yeah, for sure. There are. And so I think there's amazing potential there if you combine human capacity and creativity and the multiplier of AI, right? It's got more information than you. It's got more data than you. It can do things faster than you. So use it with that. Obviously in the right size chunks, but use it for that. And then see what you're able to then do and deliver. Right?
How do I know the difference between someone, if I look at myself, how can I tell that this time I'm outsourcing all my thinking to ChatGPT? Like, where is...
Did you think? Did you just hit prompt and did you take the answer and you copy and pasted it? Right? There's so many cases, of people even taking the ChatGPT header or that last line, right? To say, would you like me to edit this any further? And they put that in an email and hit send, and you're like, obvious, right? There was even some person, I saw a YouTube video or Instagram post of someone praying, and they accidentally did that as well, and you're like, how? You even put a prayer on ChatGPT. Right? So for sure. So I think that's when you know you're outsourcing, is that, did this thing push me to have a new thought? Did it push me to expand my mind any further? If it didn't, then you've outsourced your thinking, right? Versus, hey, chat, I'm working on this. This is the problem I'm trying to solve. This is how far I am. What missing pieces are there? Help me research a couple other thoughts, right? Okay, cool. If I'm going down this lane, what have I missed? Right? I did it with writing my latest book, right? I didn't write my book using ChatGPT, but I edited it. I said, hey, chat, this is this chapter. This is what I'm thinking about. What other case studies have I not considered? What else could make the story compelling? How does this chapter relate to this chapter? Is there a golden thread, or I'm talking nonsense? Do these thoughts contradict one another? Right? I didn't say, write me 500 words on care and resilience. No, but I said, this is my thinking. This is the framework I've built. What are the gaps in this framework? Are there gaps? And then it was perfect, Brian. Our editing process took 2 weeks, right? With our real editor, because she's like, this is great. I'm like, yeah, because I used the tools. Otherwise, it would have taken 3 months. Right? So that's how it makes me money. It's because it saves me time, right? It saves me capacity. I'm doing things faster, right? And I didn't outsource. If you read the book or you thought about this conversation, you would be very easy to tell, like, this guy just prompted that whole thinking into ChatGPT. When everyone is using it, we can all see the basics.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Like, I literally have heard that. Yeah. Someone coming in with a book, and I'm excited about the title of the book, but when we have the conversation...
you can see, right?
The book AI wrote that thing.
I see it all the time, Shem. I see it sometimes on stage with other keynote speakers. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I see where we are now. Right? So that's the thing, is that how do you stand out in an age where everyone is using this tool? Right? When you've leveled up the playing field and everyone has the same access, must you keep doing the same thing? No, man. That's when we were first playing with this thing. Now we all have it. So what's the next level? All right?
What's your last words as we wrap up to that question?
Yes.
How do you stand out? How do you stand out in an era where everyone is using that tool?
I think now more than ever you have to stay uniquely yourself, right? Your DNA, the way you think, the way you process information, the way you look at the world is as unique as your DNA, is as unique as your fingerprint. AI is not meant to replace that. right? It helps to make you think and push that further. And so that's how you should be using the tools, right? Be comfortable with that change. Be comfortable with evolving yourself. Use AI and the technology as a multiplier, and then think about the impact of what you could do. Right? You said you're on 50,000 subscribers now, 60,000 subscribers now. Imagine if that was 500,000, right? I'd argue that you should be using the tools to help you get to that 500,000. You can't rely merely on yourself to do so.
True.
Because it's going to take you a long time. So let's take, you had that initial framework of how you wanted to think about growth. You've done 10% of those things. I'd put that back into chat and say, this was our initial conversation. This is the 10% that we've done. These are the things we've learned in the last year. These are the ways we've grown. What's the path to 500,000? Boom. And then reassess that next month and the next month and keep pushing, right? That's how you evolve, right? Help me think about Stephen Bartlett's model like this, or Mr. Beast's model like this, right? Or Oprah's model like this, Mel Robbins, boom. And with the African nuance of this, this, and this, boom. That's information that how long would that take you and your team to research a year ago, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Be impossible to think about. You wouldn't know. What, Mel Robbins, I don't know what she's doing. Now you've got that at your fingertips. Right? That's the path to growth. So the path to growth, firstly, requires evolution and it requires technology.
I love that, because study the masters is a frame that you would want to use if you want to grow. But I can see what you mean. Because you're essentially saying, even if I were to try and study some of the masters, I might not even know what they're doing. Yeah. But AI can do a deep dive into what they're doing.
It can pull the information in a better way from you. Right? You can do it the same way. Analyze Stephen Bartlett's episodes just like you did mine. Analyze his from 1 to 100 to 100 to 1,000. What were the inflection points that got him the most followers? How do we model some of those things for ourselves? Hand that over. You know? Then it's still, okay, cool. This is what I thought. This is what's relevant. Cool. You haven't outsourced it, but now you've got a wealth of information that you can do something powerful with.
That's powerful because, again, we still have to deliver on the podcast.
Of course.
Right?
That's it. You still got to sit here.
That's a whole other conversation.
That's it. You still got to deliver. That's it. You can't outsource that. Right? We don't have our digital twins up here having this conversation on our behalf. We're not there yet.
We still have to sit and do this.
It.
Next year, we want to have a strong focus on AI because, like I said, I think we want people to create breakthroughs. Yeah. Like have big breakthrough years, and I believe AI is one of the big ones. Yeah. What would you focus on if you were me when it comes to that?
So maybe I would take.
I know I'm making you check.
No, it's perfect, man. I would take away maybe the focus on AI because I think the buzzword is super intimidating. Okay. Right? If I think of having a smartphone this last 10 years, could you operate your business for one day without your smartphone?
It's getting harder.
Yeah, right? Because the tool is so embedded in your life, from email to communications to social media. You can operate almost everything just on that smartphone. You don't even need a tablet or a computer anymore. You can pretty much do everything here, right? Mm-hmm. That's where we are with AI, is that it's that smartphone moment. Right? It's that next thing of like pretty soon there's nothing you're going to be able to do without that consideration, right? Without these tools that know things a little bit faster than you, that can give you so much more data in real time, that can customize for all the different languages of people that might be tuned into this podcast and the different areas they are. That's where AI is. So I wouldn't, again, I think
increase the focus on
on just the tool itself. It's the mindset that's required to use the tool, because you can be given the Rolls Royce of AI and still not have any value, right? Yeah. So it's the mindset first, but then it's also making it less intimidating and just saying, this is a smartphone moment, right? This is the next version of the smartphone. What do we do with that? How do we operate with that? More than it is AI everything, AI everything. It's here. It's not going anywhere, right? It's not like the 4IR where we're like, hey, is it here? Is it coming? No, it's already here, bro. We couldn't do anything about it, right? It's not slowing down. So let's accept this new reality. What do we do with all this information? What's the new responsibility that we have? How do we do this ethically? How do we have all the considerations in our context? That's the conversation, I think. That's the conversation opportunity.
All right, got you. What can we look forward to when it comes to you next year?
We're still pushing this book. I mean, we just went on shelf in August, so my publisher's not asking me about the next book just yet. But yeah, man, I think for me, unfortunately, not all of my talks are available publicly. I do a lot of stuff for corporates, but hopefully this next year we do a little bit more on the open forum. I'm getting a lot of pressure to record the audio book, so we'll do so. I'm getting a lot of pressure to relaunch our podcast as well. So we'll also think about that. Maybe adaptable conversations, and we'll get you on as well. So we'll see how things go, man. But we're just trying to get this message out there as much as possible. So you can check me out on social media, Instagram, LinkedIn are probably the best platforms, YouTube, just to keep pushing this message of mindset plus technology equals exponential growth.
Cool. Mindset plus tech, exponential growth.
That's
Good
it.
way to end. Where can people buy the book?
Anywhere books are sold, man. Exclusive books, Take a Lot, Amazon. Anywhere you can get a book, you can get a copy.
You have the simplest answer.
That's it.
I'm everywhere.
I'm everywhere. Yes,
But thank you. This
an
has
absolute
been as
pleasure.
valuable as I hoped it would be.
No, thank you for the platform, and congrats on all the amazing work.
Thank you. And thank you for him till this time. I normally would say I would put links for you to buy the book, but like you heard, he's everywhere.
I love it.
See you in the next episode.